Hello and welcome to Flexibility Fridays. Today's focus is feet. So I'm going to be using a couple of little tools today. Now I have a proper sports roller. You can find at-home replacements for this, like a rolling pin. And the other thing that I'll be using is a TheraBand. So to start off with, we're just going to do a little check-in with where my feet are sitting at the moment. They're pretty even. Right one is very, very slightly lower than the left. But that's where they are as a starting point. And I'm just going to show you from the side as well, just to get a more all-rounded kind of picture of where we're at. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to start off with using is our TheraBand. So I'm just going to set it up over the tops of my toes. I'm going to stretch it out so that the TheraBand is taut but not about to snap, and I'm sealing the bottom of my knee into the floor, and I'm lifting my heel, flexing my foot back as far as I can. So there should be probably a little bit of a gap between your heel and the floor, and there's a little bit of extra TheraBand on top of the toe so it doesn't slip off. Now I'm going into my demi point and then extending into my full point and coming back the other way. I'm going to repeat this 4 times. And the reason we're starting off with this is because we do want to build strength into the foot so that you can fully utilize your point. There is no point in having super flexible feet if you cannot point them because you have no muscle strength. And we're moving on to the left-hand side. So moving on from there, I'm going to start using my roller. What I'm going to do is I'm going to apply quite firm pressure just to the outside of my shin, just to the outside of my shin bone there. And I'm going to roll it up and down, just putting some pressure through that muscle there. And what this is going to do is it's going to release it a little bit so that I can actually get a little bit more functionality into the point of my foot. So I would recommend rolling out that muscle for a little bit under a minute, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my feet out in front of me and I'm just going to see if it's made any difference to my point yet. So as we can see, it has. My right foot now is significantly lower than my left foot, which is excellent. That's exactly what we want to see. So the next part of our foot release exercises, we're going to move on to fascia release. This is something that I learned at full time from a teacher called Talia Fowler, and I still use it pretty much daily to this day. So what I'm going to do is show off the gross blister under my toe, and I'm going to just press a line under the arch of my foot, and I'm going to use the knuckle on my first finger. And I'm going to press that line in nice and hard all the way along to underneath the first toe. So I'm applying quite a lot of pressure there. The more pressure you can apply, the more effective it will be. So I'm going to repeat that under the first toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, and fifth toe. Okay, part 2 of fascia release, I'm going to go along the top of the foot, starting just after where that kind of cluster of bony bit is in the middle of my foot. I'm going to press down again using the knuckle on my finger in between each of my toes. So I'm going between my first and second, second and third and fourth, and fourth and fifth. And again, I'm applying quite a firm pressure here. Okay, so the next part, I'm just going to stretch the foot out nice and long, making sure that I am stretching straight through the ankle, not into a sickle, training in good habits. And then what I'm going to do is I am going to start just circling the ankle there one way and back the other. The next part is I'm going to spread my foot wide like a frog foot. So I'm trying to get my toes as far apart from each other as possible. And then I'm going to do a little bit of mobilization. So with these mobs, what I'm doing is I'm pretty much pulling my toes in opposite directions, trying to maintain as much width through the foot as I can. The last thing I'm going to do is I am going to massage out the arch. And again, I'm just getting in there really, really nice and firm. Okay, so let's have a look at where our feet are sitting. So we can see that my right foot is now kicking my left foot's butt, which is great. So I'm just going to even it up on the second side. And we're just breaking in between for a quick non-sponsored drink break. Diet Coke, you should sponsor me though. Please sponsor me, Diet Coke. And we're moving on to the left-hand side. And now we're just checking our progress, seeing how they're evening up. So you can see the right foot is still a little bit further down, but the left one is closing the gap. So we're just repeating our fascia release now. So we're starting off underneath the arch of the foot, pressing the knuckle of our first finger along in a firm line underneath the tendon to the first toe, repeating second, third, fourth, fifth, and then we're doing the same thing in between the tendons on top of the foot. And we're stretching the foot over, getting those nice circles in, etc., etc. You have already heard this explanation on the first hand side. So now we're going to check our progress, see how those feet are looking, and they're looking pretty even now. As you can see, I do have a slightly more flexible right foot, but the gap has closed significantly in terms of the difference between them. And I'll just show you for comparison that point from the side angle as well. Thanks for tuning into the first Flexibility Fridays. I hope you found that helpful. Feet are a really good thing to work on while we are in lockdown because they take very, very little space to do. All right, I will see you next week.